Okay, thank you all. Thanks for inviting me to speak. My name is William Cornell. I'm the Director of Regeneration at Maidstone Borough Council. So I'm going to be talking this morning about one of the priorities within our strategic plan, which is embracing growth and enabling infrastructure. So really sort of touching on how we contribute in terms of partnerships, enabling, and our own direct investment towards that agenda. Just to say a few words about the operating environment, if we could go on to the next slide, please. This is very much housing driven at the present time in terms of development in the borough. Government has a big agenda for housing growth. They're looking to achieve 330,000 new homes each and every year across the country, and that's up from the best that's previously been achieved at around 200,000 homes for quite a number of years. So big changes, and they're looking to deliver this housing growth by imposing top-down targets on all councils that they have to meet. So for Maidstone, like all other councils, this is sort of wrapped up in our local plan. Maidstone Borough Council has a local plan, which is our key development document, if you like, which sets out where development should happen, how much, what type of development, and so on. Our current local plan allows for around 850 homes per annum, but from 2022, that housing number jumps to around 1,250 homes per annum. So as a council, we're under pressure to allocate more land for housing generally, but with that housing land, we've got to provide infrastructure solutions, and also we've got to provide the jobs that are going to support that growing population. Also, in terms of the operating environment, the government's looking to make radical changes to the planning framework at the present time. They've got a new white paper that's out for consultation at the moment, which is called Planning for Growth, and this is really signalling a move towards a zonal planning system akin to what you might see in the United States, for example, where the borough, say taking Maidstone, would be divided into 3 areas, which are either growth, renewal, or protect. So it's very much about fast-tracking the whole process, both in terms of determining planning applications, but the local plan making aspect as well. And with this fast tracking, the idea is that there's more time and resource for councils to redirect their efforts towards the placemaking agenda, and particularly producing design codes for those areas that are zoned for growth. So the emerging picture is it's going to be much more about being on the front foot from a council perspective and using technology to explain and engage with the broader community. And as we go through the presentation, hopefully, I think we'll see Maidstone's broadly on that trajectory already. So turning to infrastructure, as you all know, the council collects contributions from the various developers in the borough through Community Infrastructure Levy, Section 106, grants, loans, and we also commit our own funds too. And we have something called an infrastructure delivery plan, which shows £80 million worth of infrastructure projects across the borough that need to be delivered to support the current local plan. Just to give you a feel, you know, the high profile projects within that infrastructure agenda are the likes of major highway improvements, so improving Junction 7 on the M20, highways improvements to the A274 Sutton Road and both ends of the A20 as well. But with these bigger projects, what I would say is that they're costly, they're complex to deliver, there's not always consensus as to what the right solution is and where it should be, and control sort of sits between different sort of players in the market. So I'll come back to that, that sort of conundrum in a bit. But where Maidstone can work on its own on the sort of smaller scale public realm type enhancements, we can really deliver some quick wins that are proving to be very, very popular with the residents of the borough. So we're on the right slide here, I think. So The first one is we've made a number of improvements to the main sort of entrance route into the town from the A20 from the Ashford end. It's quite a nice grand road, nice and wide, but it hadn't really been showing the town at its best. It's sort of a bit overgrown and shabby looking. And over the past year, we've done an investment package of around £75,000 in providing new planters, new planting, lamp columns being replaced, a new bus shelter, new railings, and some nice art pieces as well. So you can see there we've got a really lovely tree carving and a silhouette of a bike in the greenery there. And if we move on to the next slide, you can see, we can see that we've got a nice townscape silhouette, and also the Maidstone dinosaur, which is on our crest. So that's been a very popular sort of local project, which has had an emphasis on improving the walking and cycling amenities close by to the town centre. Moving on to the next slide, if we may. We've got Maidstone bus station, where we're working with partners there to do a £1 million facelift of this facility. We're working with the owners of the facility, Capital and Regional, as well as Kent County Council and Arriva, to take what has been, is currently quite a dingy and uninviting space, and we're doing a £1 million investment package to redecorate it, provide new lighting, new passenger information, new signage, and really sort of bring it up to the current modern standards you'd expect. So that consultation has just finished, and we'll be starting that project on site in the next few months. If we can move on again, this is quite a nice sort of small-scale infrastructure project that we've delivered on our own, £3 million worth of investment to the public realm and street scene within the main retail district, which is the bottom of Gabriel's Hill here, that goes all the way up to the top of Week Street. And so we've got much improved, nice new brick paving with sort of junction features and so on, and all new street furniture throughout. So much better environment for the retailers to operate in, and a better experience for shoppers as well. And if we can go on to the next one as well, please. We've got an improvements package going on at Maidstone East train station, where we're currently working with Network Rail, South Eastern and Kent County Council to create a new ticket office and station building at Maidstone East, with a lovely new piazza outside that, with improved lighting, cycle storage, and green planting scheme. And that's on site at the moment, will be finished at the end of the year. So in terms of infrastructure, these small ones are often the most popular and the best to deliver, and so on. But with that returning to the problem of sort of big kit infrastructure, if we move on to the next slide, the councillors are sort of turning their attention now to the concept of garden communities, and can they play a part in the development growth of the borough. So what we mean by garden communities is sort of larger standalone new settlements or urban extensions that provide not only homes but jobs and retail space, community uses, recreational spaces, but absolutely pivotal, the required sort of infrastructure being integral to the scheme. So whether that's a new railway station or a new road or what have you. Yeah, the concept is that the infrastructure is easier to deliver in these environments where you've got a bit more space. So the council issued a prospectus to invite these types of proposals from the private sector, and it's got some very interesting proposals on the table that we're currently exploring. But it has also, through our property arm, developed a proposal ourselves that we're promoting through the local plan review at the current time. And this is known as Heathlands, which is beyond Lenham to the east of the borough as we go towards Ashford. It's a very exciting concept that could yield up to 4,000 new homes. If we can move on to the next slide, please. 4,000 new homes through a landscape-led design, which would encompass district centres, new schools, a country park, a town park, and in time, a new railway station too, plus all the employment land that you'd expect. So the council is working closely with the principal landowners here and is also finalising a deal with Homes England to continue to co-promote the proposal to the local plan review. And then, assuming we're successful, move on to jointly perform a master developer type role with Homes England together. So that would broadly involve securing an allocation in the plan, then an outline planning consent, delivering an infrastructure package, moving on to phased detailed consents and bringing in development partners on a phase-by-phase basis to take the project forward, along with a long-term governance and stewardship arrangement as well. So as I say, no firm decision's been made at this stage, but it's an interesting option to have on the table for the councillors to consider. So it's an alternative approach to what we currently have in Maidstone, where growth has been largely focused upon the Maidstone urban area and the surrounding 5 larger villages. Next slide, please. Just to talk you through some of the work we're doing on town centre planning, we have also created planning guideline documents for 5 key town centre opportunity sites that could in time yield 1,200 new homes as part of mixed-use developments. Creating these documents has enabled us to open discussions with the landowners and explore how we can work together to signal change in these areas. The purpose of the document is to give a clear steer to landowners, present and future, as well as their agents and advisors as to what type of development proposals the council would favour. All the sites have regeneration potential for mixed uses over different time frames. So the locations that we've produced these documents for are the Gala Bingo site at the bottom of Gabriel's Hill, Moat Road in the town centre, the Len House, which I'll come back to in a moment, Maidstone Riverside, which is retail at the moment, but we were thinking in the medium term that could start to shift, but perhaps even more so given all the current changes that are going on out there in retail, and also Maidstone West. And I'm pleased to say the first of these sites, Len House or the Peugeot building or Roots building, however you know it, has already come forward for development for the transformation of this Grade 2 listed Art Deco building. If you can move on to the next slide, I think we've got an image of it there. The proposals will see the restoration of the listed building, the improvement of the mill pond in front of it, and ultimately the creation of new commercial space plus 159 new homes as part of the refurbishment and new build behind. So we have Guy Holloway as the architect there and Classicus as the developer, who are hoping to be on site early next year. If we can move on to the next slide, if we may. Yes, so in terms of growth, the council also has a significant capital programme that it invests in part in private rented sector housing. So we're back in the business of building houses, and we've got more than £25 million to be invested in private rented sector, or PRS. Our latest acquisition is Lenworth House to the right, and the current 2 schemes, Brunswick Street and Union Street, are both on site at the present time. They're on underutilised council car parks in and around the town centre. Together they'll yield around 94 properties, 1/3 PRS, 1/3 affordable and 1/3 market sale. And if we can just move on to the next slide, please. The market sale homes here have just been coming up to completion at Brunswick Street. We've got 9 at Brunswick Street, and I'm pleased to say we've got 7 of the 9 reserved already. And I think they look really good, and we're really pleased with the reaction that we've had from the market. And we've done those delivered those market sale homes in a joint venture with our contractor, Purelay. Next slide, please. Just moving on very quickly. Hopefully we're okay to time. I've got 2 or 3 minutes to go. In terms of jobs and commercial property to support the growth agenda, a different example that shows our commitment to embracing growth and enabling infrastructure is the work that we're doing at the Kent Medical Campus, nearby to Junction 7 of the M20. It's a greenfield 30-acre site dedicated to the medical and life sciences sectors. The campus is already home to the impressive Kim's Hospital, a new £20 million mental health facility by Signet Healthcare, and a brand new care home being operated by Care UK. So working with the landowner, the council has secured enterprise zone status for the campus. This means that businesses relocating there get business rates relief, and the council keeps all the long-term business rates as long as we reinvest it in economic development type initiatives. And so moving on to the next slide, our contribution is to build an innovation centre on the site to be an incubator for new and growing businesses in the med tech sectors. It will provide 37,000 square feet of top quality serviced office accommodation with wraparound business support. It's part financed through the European Regional Development Fund. So the building looks really, really good, I think, thanks to our architect, Von Bryan, and our contractor, next slide, Ryden, are on site now, making really, really good progress, and the building is going to be finished next year. In terms of enabling infrastructure for the site, we are partnered with Kent County Council and the Department of Transport to secure an upfront infrastructure package of more than £6 million. The funding will upgrade 2 nearby junctions as well as widen the road between them. Work starts in the autumn. And next slide, please. This is one of my favourite ones, where our role has just been that of the planning authority, but I think the planners have done a really fantastic job here, which is for the new Marks and Spencers that's opened at Eclipse Park by Junction 7 of the M20. So it's a brand new Marks and Spencers, taking on their new flagship store concept, so the first of this type of store that they're rolling out across the country as they modernise their portfolio of assets. It's got really high, top quality eco credentials, nice modern design, and also that design sort of complemented with the use of really high quality, locally sourced materials. And you can see all the lovely Kentish ragstone there in the walls and roundabouts and so on. So a new store that's opened about a month ago, a really sort of exciting addition. So just to conclude, if you just move on, that's just a snapshot of the projects that we're working on at the moment. You know, these are all really, really ambitious projects. A lot of them are long term, but we're making really good progress getting them into delivery and completion and so on. But I would say from the council perspective, you know, in these difficult times especially, we've got a big capital programme. Councillors want to keep and maintain and possibly increase that to support economic recovery. And our way of working is very much about partnerships, our own investment, co-funding with partners, taking a lead where we can, but a real emphasis on quality and placemaking. So from the small schemes to the big schemes, we're trying to, anything we're part of, we're trying to make it the best we possibly can. So it's just a snapshot of what we're doing here, but if anyone would like to find out more about the projects we're doing, please do not hesitate to get in touch. That's my presentation, but I'd be more than pleased to take any questions if anyone has any. Thank you.